All right, time now to tonight's other big story, the 2014 New York State budget. It was revealed by Governor Cuomo just a few hours ago, and it outlines how your money is going to be spent this year. Well, there are big plans when it comes to education. The governor is proposing universal pre-K, which is an option for all young kids across the state to be in full-day programs. The cost, $1.5 billion over 5 years. He's also proposing that $720 million go to after-school programs, money that the governor says would come from projected casino revenue. Overall, the governor wants to increase school aid by nearly 4%. And the increase is on par with what the governor has proposed in years past. And joining us live with that part of the story now is our Capitol correspondent, Pat Bailey, who's in our Capitol newsroom tonight. Pat?
Yeah, Liz, on par, and that's not good enough for many lawmakers. Last year, Governor Cuomo proposed increasing school aid by nearly $900 million, and by the time the budget passed, lawmakers added more money to it. And it's part of their track record, the legislature adding more money, because they believe Governor Cuomo does not give enough money directly to schools, directly to schools. That's key here. In this year's budget, Governor Cuomo is proposing that a 3.8% increase, which equals $807 million over last year's allotment. Now, of that, 85% of it would go directly to schools for aid. The rest would be spent on performance programs for teachers and rolling out universal pre-K, something that he talked about as well today. Governor Cuomo calls the investment very significant, while lawmakers say it's not enough going directly into the classroom.
Overall, if you counted it all, it'd be one of the largest investments in education that this state has made, and we're proud of that.
Most school districts, at least 70%, are still not above where they were in 2009. So my guess is, and I still need to hear back from school districts, we're all just hearing this now, but my guess is this will mean more drastic cuts.
And what I'm hearing from my schools are, don't add new programs to us. Fill in the gap elimination so we can continue with the programs that we have.
Now, in all, the governor's budget calls for a nearly extra $2 billion in school funding over and above last year's funding. Now, what does that include? Well, it does include the direct school aid, which is an estimated $680 million, funding for the universal pre-K system, which would be $100 million in the first year. We mentioned it's $1.5 billion over 5 years. After that, the after-school program, we mentioned that, the $720 million, that is projected revenue from the casinos, and the teacher incentives program. He outlined that today, Liz. $20 million he wants to give to that. You remember, in the state of the state, he wants to give up to a $20,000 bonus for the highest performing teachers in New York State. So a lot to do with education in this budget address.
Yeah, obviously it's a big chunk of what he's got to spend, but there must be other things in the address.
Oh, absolutely. Ethics reform, something he's been talking about for 2 years now. Hear more on that coming up tonight at 5:30 from our Fred Dicker. He'll have more on that. Also talked more about those tax cuts and those tax freezes for businesses and homeowners. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll actually look more in depth at that and hear why local lawmakers say that there is no surplus right now. One local lawmaker questioned the surplus 3 years out, which is projected, by the way, and another local lawmaker questioned whether or not the governor is giving enough tools, mainly money, resources, money to local school or to local municipalities to help stay within that tax cap so that residents can get that tax freeze in the next couple of years.